Okay, just may I check whether brothers and sisters can see this slide?
Yes, okay, can see.
Yeah. Pleasant, Father Robert. Pleasant evening, Brother Joe, brothers and sisters. Thank you very much for your presence tonight for the weekly review of the Lotus Sutra with Brother Joe. Very glad indeed to introduce our lovely sharers for tonight's session. We have Sister Yvonne, Brother Robert, Sister Lacey, Brother Chris, and Sister Irene. These photos were taken after our post Xin Fa Xiang sharing in the morning. Can earn so much, brothers and sisters, for agreeing to share your insights with us tonight. Firstly, Sister Yvonne will be sharing her insights for episode 623. Canines as an analogy for people's mind. Everything in the world is impermanent, and we should contemplate impurity. Due to ignorance, we cannot awaken. This is likened to a black shell beetle. When our thinking becomes lost, we take the wrong fork. Noble beings see the three ranks as impure and thus have compassion. Sister Yvonne, ready to start?
And then Sister YY.
Happy sharing, yeah, Sister Yvonne.
Okay. Good evening, Brother Joe. Good evening to all the brother and sister on the cloud. Or episode 623, when Master did the end of the suffering, the summary, the one statement that stayed with me was, everything in the world is impermanent. So happened that day after the Xin Fa Xiang, I went for a morning walk. And as I look at the beautiful sky, this statement came into mind that is relating to impermanence, which is, though all forms in the world is true emptiness at the end, however, we need to cherish the wonderful existence that is waiting for us to uncover. So because I feel, although we always think about emptiness, doesn't mean that we don't do anything, because we still need our physical body to walk the bodies of our path, to return to our pure Buddha nature. And in each of us, there's a wondrous existence that is waiting to bloom, just like if we took the analogy of a lotus flower, it is waiting to bloom to its original form and beauty. So how do we do that? Let's go to the next page, Sister YY. Okay, so this is my own understanding of the 100+ episode that I listened to our Dharma Master. So the medicine that can help us to transcend the sufferings and be liberated from the 6 realms. At the foundation level, we need to understand the 4 noble truths, the law of karma, the 12 link of physical existence, impermanence, emptiness, and wondrous existence. And for us to absorb this foundation of Dharma, we need to have faith, deep faith, to accept the teaching. And Master always said, after you listen, you need to contemplate, you need to practice, and transform yourself and others, and to spread the Buddha teaching, to turn the consciousness into wisdom. So at the foundation level is for us to understand the principle of sufferings, how we come about and so forth, to better and improve our own conduct. We still need to go to the among the masses to walk the bodies of our path, to cleanse our storehouse, to then have more good karma seed. So while you're walking among the masses, these 3 pillars that I stay with me is the 6 parameters, the 4 infinite might, and the 4 great vows. The reason why I take this as 3 pillars is because at the level of compassion, when we go among the masses, we need to treat everybody equally, be able to love the sentient being without colors and senses. For example, we go and do our refugees, they are different colors of different countries. So this allows us to practice our compassion and show our loving kindness to be able to give people peace and joy, help them to calm their mind in a state when they are in the suffering. And this is the practice for us to, in a way, help if possible, to awaken their compassion, and then the loving kindness will come forth. And also, while we are walking among the masses, we will definitely come across temptation, you know, when we go into external condition, and our habitual tendency will come about. That's where we call on the 6 paramitas, you know, holding precepts, about having patience, having the samadhi to be able to, samadhi and wisdom to discern the wrong and the right. And while we are walking this journey, at times we will feel like giving up, or we are very tired. That's where we must remember our 4 great vows, because the vow will give us the strength to continue this journey. And we take a pause to remember our ultimate aim is to attain Buddhahood, to attain the pure Buddha nature that's within all of us. So then how do I translate this into action? Next slide, please, SisterYY. So the first thing, when this Dharma journey has enabled me to realize my own habitual tendency, a very sensitive person, always the need to be right, and there's a very high protective of self-image. Before I learned this Dharma, which is about a year plus, I don't think I will be able to realize this habitual tendency of mine. And if I even do something wrong with it, it will take very long before I realize and even ask for forgiveness or say sorry. But having listened to Master, the ability to realize, to contemplate and realize that one is showing this habitual tendency is faster. And with this awareness, then we have the ability to correct our own conduct. So this is the benefits that I gain from listening to the Dharma. Also, in the interaction with people, there are 3, I call it rules or principles. There are many, but I just take 3 to remember, to be the anchor. Law of karma, impermanence and emptiness, and create good affinities. Why I choose these 3 is because always remember Master said, when our time is due to leave this world, we cannot take anything with us. We only can take our karma along with us to our future life. So when we come to a situation, when we want to compete, where there's a tendency you want to argue or whatever not. So with these 3 in mind, you will kind of help you to let go of the competitive spirits, and be able to have a more calm state of mind. So in application of daily life, I try to practice the 3-fold karma. What does that mean to me? Kind speech, the first thing that I try to improve is no more gossiping, no more bitching about people, you know. When you come to a situation when there are people telling about somebody or whatever not, I will stay silent, no more, what do you call, participate. So that's the first thing that I try to improve on my conduct. In terms of good actions, something like, you know, become vegetarian, do charity works. These are the good actions that we can do. Be gentle to my husband, you know, more one yao. And in terms of good thought, there's always the first thing that that I was able to internalize was being grateful. And this actually helped me in my CBI journey together with my home brother. So before I end, there's something that I want to leave with everybody. The next page, please, SisterYY. Okay. So we need to be willing to empty our cup of impurities to receive the fresh Dharma. So I look forward to every day when I listen to Master, the wisdom at dawn, to empty my impurities and take in the Dharma teaching that is every morning that is done by Master. And that's my sharing today.
Okay, thanks to SisterYY. Thanks SisterYY for allowing me to interject. I just need to say that your content was really good. I took screenshots of your PPT. First of all, the one that you had the 3 pillars, I think that was really spot on. These are the things that indeed Master has always been talking about, are the pillars of our actions and our thoughts and our vow. Just as you said, and when you're saying, it was echoing in my mind, was the 4 great vows allow us to be able to be to have this longevity, to be able to keep it continuing, while infinite mind, you know, inspire us, and then the 6 perfections are what we do. So there is the starting point, which is the inspiration. There is the action, which is what we do today. So the inspiration is in the past, the seed. What we do today are the six perfection. And what continues is the fuel that continues to drive us are the four great vows. So when you have the past, present, and future combined as the three pillars, then you would eventually, like you have here in this picture I'm looking at right now, is to be able to transform the ordinary beings into Buddhahood. And I think that was a very, very good overall depiction. And what you said you got from watching hundreds of episodes. I can tell you that those time watching the episodes aren't wasted. It really showed in here. And thank you. This is really, really detailed. And then onto the second page, I really like the way that you list out listen, contemplate, and practice. And the first part, they're so true. Being sensitive, need to be right, protective of self-image. All these things are the things that we need to overcome, right? We need to, slowly let go of that. And then contemplating, you mentioned the three things, law of karma, and you remember what Master said, and then practice. And I am so happy that you brought out your husband, Wondrous. You mentioned it in Chinese, you have to be kind and gentle, and then you say Wondrous. And I think that's very good. And that's exactly what it is. Buddhahood, Buddhism shouldn't be something that you just talk about. It has to be something that you can really use every day, in fact, every second. So thank you, Sister Yvonne. It was very, very thorough. Thank you so much. So it's not really just this episode 623. It's really much bigger than just 623. So thanks, Sister Yvonne. It was spot on. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Kanan, very much, Brother Joe and Sister Yvonne. Kanan, so much for the great sharing. Indeed, so structurally laying down all the spiritual practicing tools as the foundations and the pillars of a house. Kanan, so much indeed. So next, Brother Robert will be sharing his insights, for episode 596. Greed and cravings result in suffering. Be careful not to wait for suffering to appear. Desires for sights, sounds, and material things induce and pull at one another. Greed, craving, and attachment are the causes of suffering. The burning house of the three ramps is the fruit of suffering. Brother Robert, ready to go?
Yes.
Happy sharing, yeah, Brother Robert.
Yeah, Karen so much, Sister YY, and Karen to all the brothers and sisters for allowing me to share a little bit. Yeah, I think when we were listening to this episode 596 a couple of days ago, suddenly it recalls me back to the days when how did I turn into a vegetarian? Because in this Wisdom at Dawn, I think Master was saying that there are not enough living bodhisattvas, so we need to transform others. Of course, before transforming others, we need to transform ourselves, and we must believe the right Dharma, accept it, and we must serve as the eyes of the blind. And the other more important thing is we need to purify our 6 roots. So when Master mentioned about these 6 roots, purify our 6 roots, then I said, I recall back the day when I turned into vegetarian. That was about 7 years ago. When the time I turned into vegetarian, it was just a very pure so-called thought, because a few of us, we were having meeting with Master, and just the day before that, the night before we went to see Master, I think all of us, we were, one of the brother was saying that, okay, tomorrow morning when we see Master, we'll all kneel down and we will make a vow to Master that we will become a vegetarian, So that was the simple thought, that the simple so-called. But I think, but after listening to this wisdom at dawn, it made me think that how did I manage to control my these 6 roots, because before I turned into vegetarian, I especially enjoy this crispy roast pork, here in Chinese we call it 燒肉, so I think allow me to just elaborate a bit, I have to always take the best 燒肉 in town, so it must be from the belly of the pork, it must be probably about 30% fat and 70% lean meat, it must be smoked to perfection. The flavor must be delicately marinated, and then if possible, the pork must be smoked in using coconut husk, that you bring extra flavor. So all this now I start to think, I was focusing, I was focusing my 6 roots, my eyes, my ears, my nose, my tongue, my body, and my mind, to secure the best piece of 燒肉, the best piece of the crispy roast pork, so that time, then I link it back now to that realization came, now compared to what after I listened to this wisdom at dawn is, that I was savoring like this extreme enjoyment, while the animals were facing extreme suffering, like Master said, and these are all greed and cravings, greed and cravings, like we all know, are the causes of all this suffering. And when we cling to all this, we end up creating and accumulating karma. Therefore, also we cause more sufferings. So we must really look after our 6 roots, like our eyes, our ears, our nose, tongue, body, and mind. And we must not cling to these momentary pleasures, So we must maintain a proper mindset. We must constantly engage in this right thinking. So I think all of us have this Buddha's pure intrinsic nature, but due to our all this greed, craving, and attachment, and we are entangled by the sounds, the sights, and material things, then through all this ignorance, we continuously, face all these retributions again and again within this burning house of the 3 realms. Yeah. Okay. Kind of. That's my sharing for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother Robert. Your sharing of that crispy roasted pork, right? Crispy roast pork.
Yeah.
As you're sharing this story, it came to my mind. No, not the roast pork. The idea came to my mind was, so how would we all like to be remembered? For example, somebody tell me that Brother Robert is sharing, right? The Robert in my mind will come out with this, always smiling. The voice is deep, and the laugh is contagious, and very, very friendly, and always, is the leader of the English group, and leading everybody on this effort. So that's what's in my mind, and I'm sure everybody would like to be remembered as how they achieved what they have achieved. Obviously, no one wants to be remembered as how they have failed, but everybody wants to be remembered as how they achieved. However, just like Uda, Dharma Master Uda, right? He was remembered for the rite of repentance. Obviously, there are more stories. For example, including the 10 lifetimes of the killing, etc., etc. But going back to when I heard your story about the tastiness of this roast pork, and you went into detail about how it was actually it was actually steamed, right? Smoked in the husk of the in the coconut, right? So I was thinking that particular pig or animal, we remember them by their flavor, and I'm sure no animal would like to be remembered by their flavor. And I think just, like all of us, we would like to be remembered as, oh, Brother Joe, there's always smiling, and Brother Robert, always so friendly and inviting people, especially, making sure there's no gap between languages in Tzu Chi. And I think that's great. But we don't want to be remembered as something that's, like a flavor, like, the smell, that person, that smell. We don't want to be remembered that. So I think that's one of the things about having good affinity.
Opening speech.
That one very fast one.
Okay, let's see. All right, so let me just finish on that. So thank you, Brother Robert. It just made me think about that particular roast pork that you talked about will be remembered not by the flavor that it caused because of the coconut, but it will be remembered as what triggered you to start thinking about how far I have changed, how I have changed now that I am not going back to be a carnivore. I am a vegetarian and I'm going to save lives. That's how that animal, that life is going to be remembered. Not by the taste, but by what they have achieved, what they have caused you to elevate above and become vegetarian. And that's how we would like to remember all those animals. And I really think that for every animal that we have eaten, not only do we owe them a great debt because we have eaten them, but they use their lives so that we can learn, so that we know now that we should not eat their meat, okay? And everything that they have done, now you have achieved all the thanks to these animals. And that's how they should be remembered, helping you, helping us becoming the vegetarian that we are right now. So thank you, Brother Robert. Remember that taste and remember what they have achieved. Not remember the taste, I'm sorry. Remember what they have achieved to help us. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, cảm ơn so much, Brother Joe and Brother Robert. Yeah, congrats indeed, Brother Robert, for overcoming, the cravings for the roast pork and turning to a full vegetarian now. The third sharer is our Sister Lacim, who will be sharing her insights for episode 622. Fundamental delusion gives rise to affliction. The creation of all negative karma begins with fundamental delusions. Our attachments and bonds drive us to give rise to all afflictions, which pervade throughout the 10 directions of space and extend throughout the 3 periods of time. Desire, form, and ignorance stir up the flames of the 3 ranks. Sister Lacim, are you ready to go?
Okay, can you hear?
Yeah, cảm ơn Sister Ken.
Cảm ơn Sister YY for inviting me to share this evening. I'm so grateful that I can follow the English group Xun Fa Xiang sharing platform. I have actually gained tremendously from this platform. Actually, episode 622 is part of chapter 3 of Lotus Sutra, which is the parable. And I always have this impression that this chapter is talking all about burning house and burning house. But after listening to Master teaching further, I understand now that it is actually much more than that. This episode is about fundamental delusions that give rise to afflictions. Let me share my fundamental delusions, which I'm not even aware if I don't listen to Master's teaching. Actually, we were all born in a human body, and we always hear this, 人生难得今已得. But do I really treasure this human body? Do I behave like a responsible human being? recently Master shared that sometimes our human behavior can be so close to that of some animals, that awakened me to some extent. I asked myself, am I preparing myself to the animal realm in my next life if I have animal behaviors now? So Master mentioned that sometimes we are so arrogant, as the bird flying high up in the sky. This is especially true when we are better off than others, and we forgot about the contribution of others who may help to put us to where we are today. And we forgot to be grateful, and instead we become arrogant and hurting others and form bad affinities. And sometimes we also behave as greedy like a dog, having food already on one feet and yet still look around if there are more food to grab. I must confess, sometimes I'm like that too. Like sometimes when I go to restaurant while having meal and seeing the waiter serving dishes to the next table, I may tempted to go and make order just to satisfy my greed, even though there's already food on my table. So I think I have been living more than half of my life, but still unaware that I have all these little small habitual tendencies. I think I'm very ignorant on my behavior, and I always thought that ignorant is like, if you don't understand impermanence, the law of karmic retribution, but actually it's much more than that. Ignorant can also be referring to not knowing my bad behavior that needs to be corrected. So Master's teaching has definitely raised my awareness. I'm so thankful for that. And then the other thing that is I learned is Master mentioned that Buddha's wisdom is as deep as the ocean. Exactly how deep is that? I wonder. So by listening to Master's Dharma, I realized that I have so much to learn. Like when I see something that I like, the first thing that comes to the mind is just to grab it, So short-sighted, unaware of the earth resources that need to be exploited to satisfy our desire. So instead of being grateful, my desire grown and causing more earth exploitation, And to counter this ever-growing desire, Buddha has taught us to go back to the origin and contemplate the entire process, the destruction that has done to our earth, the cause and condition that ripen to produce what we want. I think this is a very good way for me to contemplate, to curb our worldly desire, by contemplating on the process, and the exploitation of the resources along the way. And lastly, I must say that I really have everything to gain and nothing to lose by joining Tzu Chi, And to tackle these fundamental delusions that give rise to afflictions, I've constantly remind myself that these are the three things that I need to do. That is, number one is to walk into the masses. Number two is to benefit others. And number three is to constantly self-reflection and hoping that my remaining life script can be a meaningful one for myself and also for others who cross path with me. With that, Kan En, over to you, Sister YY. Kan En.
Yeah, very much indeed. Okay, Brother Joe. Yeah.
Oh, this is truly wonderful. Thanks to Sister Laysim. Well, first of all, obviously, thanks to Sister YY. Always for everybody, prepare a slide for everybody, and did all the homework on which episode and what it was about, pretty much in terms of the prelude part. And thanks to Sister Laysim, I think you were absolutely right. I think I was copying down what you were saying. Basically raising the awareness. I think that's one of the things about delusion. One of them is not knowing, but then there are other parts. Not only are there people not knowing, but then there are people that are not willing to know. And I think first part is you need to know, and then you will combat whether you are willing to know or not. And I think you address both of these. One, you have to raise your awareness to know. Two, once you know, you realize how much more you have to do. And I think what you mentioned about deep as ocean, and that's really true. I think we often don't see that there's so much more for us to learn. And I think the three things you talked about, I also try to keep it for myself, is the three things you mentioned about 入人群, right? Going to the masses and benefit others and always contemplating. I'll also try to remember that, because I think that should be the things that we all do. That should be the things that all of us have to do, which is, don't just be on your own. You have to be going to the masses, learn from others and helping others, and then benefiting others. And then lastly, to be able to contemplate, to raise the awareness. Okay, so you mentioned about the birds. And I think in all these episodes, all the birds, they were somehow the signs of ignorance, right? They were arrogant, there were different parts of different birds, but they were mostly about some type of delusion where they were arrogant, and that falls into the category of not willing to know because it's not related to you. Okay, so if you have heard the weekend sharing before, when Master was on the tour, on the trip, Master specifically told the 人文志业 or 大爱 TV station, the staff, there are three types of people. One, they don't know. Two, they don't want to know. Three, they know, but they don't think it's related to them. And I think all three of them are what we need to do. You go into the masses, so then you let people know, and you make them want to know, and then you make them believe. You show them that it's related to them. Okay, it's not completely not related. It's related to them, and that's why benefiting others, going to the masses, and then contemplating, I think it's very important. So thank you, Sister Simba. It's very, very informative. Thank you, and this is wonderful. Thank you. And I get a chance to right away provide feedback. I like this. It's always my showing my thanks to all of you, my teachers, to share with me your thoughts. It's usually just me talking, and I'm still talking. But anyway, thanks to everybody. Thank you.
And very much, Brother Joe. And Sister Lizzie beautifully said, yeah, there's not everything to gain by being a part of Tzu Chi. And definitely your remaining life script will be very fantastic. Okay, next we have Brother Chris with us, who will be sharing his insight for episode 6 to 5. Not believing in cause and effect is terrifying. Beings of the 5 destinies coexist with a mix of good and evil karma. With deluded karma, afflictions, and deviant views, we deny the law of cause and effect. Everyone conceals seeds of cause and effect. Seeds contain an ocean of fruit. Though hidden, they are not lost. Brother Chris, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, cảm ơn.
Good
He's sharing.
evening, Joe, SisterYY, and everyone else. Yeah, cảm ơn for giving me the opportunity to do a little sharing. This episode 625 actually reminded me a lot of this my CBI story. A few months ago, I was given some new cases in the CBI program here, and there are two very challenging cases, which actually taught me a lot about karma, karmic attributions, causes and conditions, and the subsequent effects, right views, right efforts, and the application of the 6 parameters. These two cases is 2 brothers from Syria. One is a chemical engineer and the other one is an accountant. And the third person is a pharmacist from Somalia. All these educated refugees is quite uncommon in Malaysia. And I believe that they have great potential to influence and help others if they can be shown the right path. They arrived in Malaysia a few years ago, running away from war and conflict in their home countries. And they did not come here by choice. Actually, karma and ignorance brought them here. Their passports were not accepted by any other countries apart from Malaysia. So that's why they landed here. And then they were unaware of the conditions and regulations here in Malaysia that does not allow them to work legally. There's no medical care for them and no government assistance. Right? So actually one of them described his situation here as a hardship and suffering, which is at times even worse than what he experienced in his own country. Anyway, the two brothers during the lockdown, MCO, lost their jobs, so they couldn't pay the rent. But the main tenant was their benefactor. You know, this young Malay girl helped them to pay the rent. Okay, and but a few months later, she lost her job. So they were all in one boat. There were 3 rooms in the apartment, and the third room that was rented out, the tenant, the person left. So this Malay girl have to pay the renter for the whole apartment instead of just her room. When she lost her job, and they had a hard time to pay the rent to the owner. When I came to visit them, the main tenant was and the POCs were expecting that you know, the CBI help from UN would be able to pay the areas of the rental. But later they came to know that the amount that was approved was just a pittance, just enough to pay for their food for survival. So now these 2 guys face, and the main tenant face eviction. The pharmacist has no job also, no money to pay rent. So he had to leave his room. Fortunately, he got a local friend who invited him to share his room. Right? So he found a benefactor. But then a few months later, his friend lost his job as well. So his friend had a great mental anguish and he attempted suicide. And this pharmacist managed to talk him out of it. Anyway, the relationship didn't get on too well, and he was asked to move out. This pharmacist then pleaded whether he can stay in the living room, you know, and help out with the chores, right? So and so they carried on like that. Knowing that getting a job for them is crucial for their survival, I contacted many friends who also tried to get jobs for them. But after many rounds of trying, they just couldn't get any jobs for this difficult period. So I thought of changing their focus from themselves to others, you know. So I made arrangements for them to help at the nearest Tzu Chi recycling station, explaining to them that, or you can't get a job and whatnot, or looking for a job, maybe you can help to save the environment and do some recycling work. They were okay with that. But then we run into a problem because the recycling station nearby, the volunteers there were mostly older sisters who don't speak English. And then the timing was not right for them. When the time there are some English-speaking volunteers, as they have to go out and look for work every day. The pharmacist, his mind is so fixated on getting a job related to his skills. So he's not looking very hard for other work, but he has to change his mind and he has to look for other work as well. But he's still very fixated on getting a job related to his skills, and also getting relocated to a third country. He has applied last year and is still waiting for his results to come out. Gave him a list of NGOs with medical and clinic facilities so that he can apply for a job. And I advised them to say, that if they don't have any job vacancies, ask them where they can just be a volunteer, and help them out. He called and contacted all of them, but no jobs. And they didn't even get back to him on the volunteering part. So looks like no matter what I tried, there were no positive outcomes. And I realized that, karmic causes and conditions and affinities all have to converge. And before the effects can materialize and something happens, and the timing cannot be forced in any way. So as part of our spiritual cultivation, we must practice patience and endurance. Remain steadfast with our vows. Amidst all that negativity and the gloom, change came unexpectedly. I was tasked to conduct an oral survey on the CBI recipients regarding the CBI program. One of the respondents can only speak Arabic. So I asked the pharmacist to be the translator for us. And from the questions, survey questions, and the POC's answers, he understood very well the dire circumstances of this POC, which in fact is worse than his situation. So now he realized that, other people are in a worse condition and in a more suffering condition than he is. So he realized his blessings actually. So during the conversation, he asked the POC, what sort of medicine are you taking? And what's the name and brand of the medicine? Because he explained to me that he wanted to help to find alternative alternatives to the medicine that that POC is taking, and he can't afford, the prices of the medicine. At that moment, well, I feel very joyful to hear his willingness to help others so spontaneously and freely. This means that he has started to open up his heart and had good thoughts of benefiting others, even though he himself is in great need. So I suggested to him that, take this as a start and see whether you can spread this information to your other refugees in your community, whether you can help them in a similar way. So from this incident, causes and conditions and karma is something that we should not deny. We have to acknowledge it, and we work with it, and make sure that we don't head up the wrong path. Okay, Kanran, that's my sharing.
Yeah, Kanran, Brother Chris, yeah, for all your so-called not giving up effort, yeah, and patience in handling all the refugees matters. May we now invite Brother Joe to provide us the advice and guidance.
Okay, Brother Chris, thank you so much. The story were indeed a journey, and all of those, as you mentioned and summarized at the end, it's basically about knowing the rules. He didn't know, like you said, he didn't know coming to this country what happened, or the passport, etc., etc. That's not knowing the rules. And you taught him the rules, which is the rules of karmic retribution or cause and effect. So you explained to him and you guided him. And I think that's the most important part. You guided him on this path and you walk with him, changing the focus and changing him slowly to be able to inherently helping others. Thank you, Brother Chris. I think that's the best way to guide somebody, is to walk with them. And even though things seems to have not changed so much in terms of the fate, the future of where he's going to be, but you have began to change him, as you mentioned. He began to be willing to helping others. So thank you, Brother Chris. And I think, as always, thanks to all of you who have done a lot for these charity cases dealing with refugees. I know Brother Chris is very dedicated group leader, and there are many of you, especially in the English group, because of the communication, you are tasked to do this, and it's not always easy. But thank you so much. You're always you're on the forefront of helping these people. Thank you, thank you, thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, Kanran, Brother Joe and Brother Chris. So finally, we have Sister Irene, who will be sharing her insights for episode 617, The Wise Contemplate the Body as Impure. We contemplate the body as impure in all of its 36 elements, the 9 orifices constantly discharged, filled. The three realms in stability makes people afraid. Those who have wisdom contemplate this and give rise to a sense of renunciation. To be liberated from the causation of suffering, one must eliminate delusion and enter the path. Sister Irene, are you ready? Sister Irene?
Yes.
Yeah, happy sharing, yeah, Sister.
Yeah, Kanran, SisterYY. Yeah, I'd like to touch on karmic retribution which actually consists of this circumstantial and direct retribution, where I really feel, where Master explained, circumstantial is one follow our karmic affinities to be born to a place, to a country, to which set of parents. I relate this to my own actual experience. To me, I really feel very much on this retribution, because I used to do not understand what is this circumstantial and direct retribution until lately. I can see now what is happening to me, because my own history of being born into this world is very peculiar. I used to ask myself why this is happening to me. And I even fell to a very dark hole. And I know karma is frightening, because through the Master Buddha story, I also know a highly cultivated monk, even 10 lifetime, very highly cultivated. Any wrong that one has done, the debts will chase up. So this could be my real karmic retribution, which I must accept gracefully and try to repay as much as possible. But on the direct retribution, I'm very grateful that I still have this affinity to have met so many benefactors along my life. And wow, this law of karma, as I say, the causes and effect of our past, that now become our karmic responsibility, our karmic debt. So I actually find this law of karma very scary, and there's no joke, and it is something I'm very afraid of. And the way probably to overcome this is the 3 important steps that I learned and listened from SisterYY, and get to know more that, first of all, speak good, do good, and think good, to help myself and probably help us to create more good karma, to write a better story for our future lifetime. Because it's just like when we open our tongue, our mouth, karma is created, whether we like it or not. It's just a good karma we created, or where unmindful bad karma is being created. And remember, no one can escape. The karmic retribution will chase up to us. So I myself is very grateful for the chance to encounter Buddha Dharma in this lifetime, for me to be able to listen, contemplate, and practice. And more grateful that I met a high master, Ming Si, that is our Master Ching Yan, who has set up Tzu Chi to allow me to walk this Bodhisattva path. I need to sincerely repent for all my past lifetime and even current unwholesome deed. This is the chance for me to practice and for me to have faith, vow, and action. Practicing perseverance, patience, and understanding, accommodating together with all the 6 Maharamattas, and continue to walk this Bodhisattva path. I actually think Master and Dharma has saved a wreck like me. All this while, we hear about the story of other people's suffering, but I relate to my own suffering very much. And I used to ask a lot of whys until I listened to Dharma and understand. So I hope and call out to everyone, please try to listen to Dharma. It really helps in our life journey. Please treasure this opportunity. And I would like to thank SisterYY for giving me this chance to share 法布施 here. And 感恩 so much to Brother Joe for always training us and giving us so much teaching. So much teaching to Irene, and Irene is very grateful. And I also like to take this opportunity to sincerely express my utmost gratefulness to all the emerging bodhisattva from the ground who have emerged and helped me along my journey in Tzu Chi. 感恩 to each and every one of you. 感恩. Thank you. Over to you, Brother Joe. Thank you.
Okay, before Sister YY changes the slide, keep this on. Keep the slide on. I think this is the perfect picture for Irene to have. You know, the ocean, so beautiful, and the sky is blue. The ocean is vast. Now, the ocean could sometimes be, you know, high waves. It could be stormy. It could be, you know, sometimes it could even swallow up the entire ship or boat or things like that. But that's what we need to do. Control it so that it's calm, so that the weather is nice and bright and sunshine in your heart always. And like you said, you know, contemplating and be grateful. When our hearts are grateful, then there is no hurricanes or typhoons coming over to engulf the boat and the ship. It will just be calm water like this. And as you're sharing, that's all I can think about. It's as calm as the water, and the ocean is so beautiful, and also the sky is blue like this, okay? Keep our minds still like this, and that is very, very important. So we already have a very good teacher in Dharma Master Cheng Yen. We have great Dharma families around all of us. And this goes out to everybody, not just Sister Irene. Thanks to Sister YY, you know, you took the time to prepare every slide. And I don't know if you just picked this randomly, but I really love, you know, all the different scenery changes. And in this one, really, you know, I think it fits, you know, Irene perfectly. You know, the heart, make it calm. You know, we're going to be going through a lot of contemplation and going through a lot of, you know, repentance, and that's fine. But keep the water calm so that our ship can sail through all the troubles as you have. Okay, so all your friends and Dharma families are all around you. And that's why we can keep the skies clear and we can keep the water calm and blue, so beautiful, just like the ocean. Okay, remember, this is the perfect picture. Thanks to YY, this is the perfect picture. And thanks to everybody. Thanks to YY for organizing, and thanks to everybody, Robert and Sister Tzu Chi and everybody sharing. Thank you. I've learned a lot, and I'm very happy tonight. Thank you. Joyous. Thank you.
Brother Joe, for the kind comments.感恩 so much, Sister Irene. What a great sharing. Yeah, truly insightful. 感恩 very much. Yeah, and to all our sharers, yeah, Sister Yvonne, Brother Robert, Sister Lacey, Brother Chris. Yeah, 感恩 so much. I'm truly grateful. So now, an apology, we have slightly overshot the time. Now, back to Sister Tzu Chi. Sister Tzu Chi.
And Sister YY for the very wonderful thing. Yeah, 真的很棒. And all the wonderful shares. And of course, we are very grateful to Brother Joe, despite very packed schedule, meetings back to back, all these, Brother Joe still joins us very kind. Okay, there's one request. Okay, we understand for those who can't continue, it's okay. You may leave, but for those who can continue, there's a request for all of us to sing the vow, 立愿文 together. May all have this 心愿 sing faith vow and practice as we walk on this path. Okay, Sister YY or Sister Lily can play 感恩 the song before we pay homage. 感恩.
心思法随无量意，无等弟子当精进，精勤上人莫有虑，传承法脉心相系，弘扬宗门志不移，此际因缘会成心，尽思法随无量意，无等弟子当精进，精勤上人莫有虑，传承法脉心相系，弘扬宗门志不移，此际因缘会成心，尽思法随无量意，无等弟子当精进，精勤上人莫有虑。无等弟子当精进，精勤上人莫有虑。
感恩颂，感恩哦。OK，感恩 Brother Joe, Sister YY, the sharers, the group of wonderful sharers, Sister Yvonne, Brother Robert, Sister Lacey, Brother Chris, and Sister Irene. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your presence and support today. Hope that each of us could sustain the Dharma joy and take in another piece of Dharma Master and Huai and love to our life. May we invite Brother Joe to lead us in paying homage. Okay, let us please make 3 bows to the Buddha and Dharma Master as we depart to apply these teachings in our daily life. Let us pay our respects to our teachers of life, universal truth. Palms together, first bow. Second bow. And third bow.